Welcome to this webinar on Windows 10 end of life and what's going on. We'll just take a few minutes to introduce our presenters.
Hey everyone, my name's Adam and I head up the account management team. Sorry, Ange.
Sorry, I was first, so I thought I would introduce myself. I'm so sorry.
Go on, over to you.
Hello everyone, I am Angela. I am in charge of software procurement here at Akita.
Adam, I think you've done your introduction. My name's John. I'm the head of marketing at Akita. We were due to be joined by Kush from our procurement team who heads up hardware. Unfortunately, he's unavailable today. So based on that, we're going to carry on. I'm going to fill in for Kush's part. But if you have any questions specifically relating to hardware, we'll be able to put it to the procurement team after the event, either by emailing info@ or procurement@akita.co.uk, or you can drop your questions into the chat as we're going through the presentation, and based on that we will pick those questions up. If there's anything that we can answer directly at the end, we will do so. If there's anything we need to take away to the tech teams, we will come back to you directly, so feel free to drop comments into the Teams chat. We will deal with all of those in due course. So what's happening with Windows 10 end of life? As of October 2025, Windows 10 operating system, which runs on a wide range of PCs, will no longer have official support from Microsoft. So what that means is there won't be any security patches, bug fixes, technical support available for this operating system. And it's quite a significant issue. So this is why we are holding a webinar in March when the issue is in October. So there's quite a lot to be done ahead of time. As I say, we're liking to get ahead of the trend now. So, but why is that? So 60% of all PCs worldwide are estimated to be running Windows 10. So that's a significant number. Windows 10 currently, there's double the number of devices that there are to Windows 11 PCs. And despite a 2% jump in the number of Windows 11 PCs that were registered as of January 2025, there's still an estimated 1.2 billion Windows 10 machines left in circulation globally, which is a huge number considering that all of them won't be protected in a short period of time, really. So what's the risk of this? Surely this is just another piece of software going out of date, not an issue. Well, really, it's a critical security vulnerability. Without patching, Windows 10 devices could become hacked. Cyber criminals will target them, and given the scale of the usage of Windows 10, it is likely to be a target very, very quickly. While that might not seem a particularly daunting issue, unfortunately, we have seen this before. So several years ago, Windows 7 went end of life, and within weeks of it going end of life, cyber criminals and hackers had found a weakness within the Windows 7 Windows 7 operating system and released what was known as the WannaCry virus. It's estimated to have infected between 200 and 500,000 PCs worldwide, taking down, as this little graphic from the BBC indicates, everyone from FedEx to large chunks of the NHS to other global, other international government agencies and bits and pieces. So there is precedent for this. Windows 7, at that point, there weren't as many devices as Windows 10. So you can imagine the potential for damage if Windows 10 were to be hacked. Microsoft for Windows 7, in fact, were forced to release a patch, despite the fact they said they wouldn't. Such was the scale. I feel they'll be remiss to do that again because that cost them a significant amount of money. From a less macro level, perhaps, there are important compliance issues relating to moving from Windows 10 to 11. As part of Cyber Essentials and other regulatory requirements, organizations are required to have the most up-to-date operating systems in part of their operation. So after October, anyone who's looking to renew their Cyber Essentials or Cyber Essentials Plus may not be able to pass it if they are operating out-of-date operating systems, i.e. Windows 10. Going further down the line, if you're not a Cyber Essentials subscribed company, you do face the issue of potential software incompatibility. Developers will move on, and as particularly cloud-based software and other softwares move at pace, if they know that Windows 10 is no longer supported, they will not be developing for it. They will not be developing to meet that need. So if you're using third-party software that's intrinsic to your business, it could become redundant or ineffective. And then the last one ties in very closely with Akita's proactive maintenance approach. A poorly performing Windows 10 machine that's slowly getting out and further out of date will be more expensive to run. It will cost you more downtime, and as a result, it will be higher cost in terms of lost productivity. So now we come to our approach to dealing with the Windows 10 end of life, and we're going to start with the approach from a software point of view. And for this, I'm going to hand over to Ange.
Thank you, John. So how can a procurement, or in fact Akita, help you prepare for this upgrade? First of all, it's identifying how many devices you are running on Windows 10. In order to do this, we have various tools that we use. One of them is our remote agent that we install on all of your devices. We run a Power BI report, which shows us which ones are compatible with Windows 11 Pro. I also introduce you to ScalePad, which is an example that you see up there on the screen, which is our life cycle assessment platform. This we can use. It does multitude of things. One of the things it can do is assess both your hardware and software, which we use as part of this assessment. Next slide, John, please. So how do we continue the assessment of this upgrade? Okay, so will typically be a chargeable project, approximately 1 hour for the update per device. We can do this remotely. We can do this on site. Some clients may choose to send their devices in batches, or may want to do this in phases, and that's just to keep it straightforward and also for financial purposes as well. Windows 11 Pro licenses are £120 per license. That's ex-VAT plus labour. If you have a device running Windows 10 Home, this will require a Windows 11 Pro license. If your device is running Windows 10 Pro, at the moment, this does not usually require a license. You can upgrade it for free of charge through the upgrade function of the Microsoft tool. However, these free upgrades can be time sensitive. Microsoft has attempted time limits on these free of charge upgrades in the past, so it is one of the things to be aware of. Windows 11 Home will not join to networks such as Azure domains. So if you are utilizing, let's say, MDM compliance policies through Azure, you will not be able to push these out onto your devices that are running Windows 10 Home. So we do recommend the devices that you do buy for your business are running Windows 11 Pro at least. Next slide, please, John. Thank you. So why many PCs won't make the cut? So some devices will not be able to be upgraded. This may be due to strict system requirements, compatibility, the RAM, the storage. You've got a few examples up there on the screen, but don't worry, I don't expect you to know all of the components inside all of your devices. That will be all part of the assessment process that we can give you. So what does this mean? You will need to be able to upgrade to Windows 11 Pro. So if your device is not compatible, you won't be able to do this via official methods, and the device will ideally need to be replaced. Another thing to be aware of, there may be unsupported workarounds or methods out there, but these may come with future security and compatibility risks. Next slide, John, please. So which devices won't make the grade? Any device identifies which don't make the grade, we can identify and produce a report for you. You see an example of a knock report up there on the screen. This is actually one of our devices that didn't make the grade. So the report outlines key information like the name of the device, the operating system, components, performance. Once identified, we can assess current requirements of the device or devices that haven't made the grade and need replacing, and we can take you through that replacement process. That brings us on to hardware, so I will pass back to John.
Thank you very much. And it is worth saying that, going back to that point, that even devices that are supposedly compatible sometimes aren't making the jump. My own laptop was recently updated, and despite it being a marketing type laptop, so lots of design software, lots of video editing, it still didn't make the cut because it was that little bit older, had to have extra RAM put in, and what should have been an hour took, unfortunately, one of our engineers 3 hours. But at least I got a nice tuned up PC at the end of it. So hardware replacement and how we might go about that. If you're not aware, Akita runs a procurement service, and being part of the software part of that, and Kush, who looks after the hardware element of that. And that's all areas of IT hardware, laptops, servers, peripherals, as well as AV equipment for AV rooms and meeting rooms. We have a large number of established relationships with leading technology vendors, as well as a number of suppliers who can offer kind of trade discounts, and also suppliers that aren't necessarily available to public, so they are trade suppliers. So we have a wide array of sources, and we typically assess our partners very, very carefully. We don't like to be letting anyone down ever with our hardware, so they are rigorously tested. They can provide us access to preferential pricing, any warranties, and advanced customer support. The benefit, obviously, of working with us is we can have a comprehensive evaluation of what hardware you need based on our knowledge of your setup, and work with you on bespoke procurement strategies with, as I say, with bespoke staff in-house ready to go to talk about your procurement needs. And that in part covers the benefits. We've got the cost efficiency. We're able, particularly when you're replacing at scale, to access discounts that maybe as an average customer you wouldn't be able to get. We can also have a look through careful selection of hardware of the total cost of ownership. There's a huge time saving in having run through Akita. You don't have to go out and compare the market. Internal teams can offer some advice about what to do. And if you so wish, devices can be sent to our procurement team to be configured as per your needs. So they literally, once they've left us and come to you, they arrive pre-configured, ready to roll with everything loaded on it that you need. You've also got access to expert guidance. Our account managers are working with you all for strategy, but there's also a huge amount of internal guidance and advice on any parts of hardware. We have a project team. We have a number of consultants who are able to assist our procurement team as and when they're needed. So we can really get a joined up picture about what hardware and software is going to sit right within your environment. So in terms of our hardware replacement strategies linked to Windows 10, there are two routes that we are typically talking to customers about. For those perhaps who don't have a large number of devices or aren't detected in a large number of devices, we will work with you to assess your needs, a time frame of when you'd like to do this, and the potential spending cost, and then approach this as a one-off project. So that would be a case of replacing all devices at once. This can also include an element of hypercare if needs be, as people adjust to new laptops and devices and make sure you're all set up. Part of this would also be around data backup as well. We're aware that while we promote the idea of backing data up to the cloud and to specific accounts, I am as guilty as anybody of having a desktop covered in icons and documents and everything else. If you're the type of person that runs solely from your desktop, obviously when you migrate laptop, that all goes with it. So we can work with people on a data backup solution for their device so to make sure they don't lose anything as they do the jump. Another approach, if you've got a large number of Windows 10 devices and you want to spread the cost, you might want to have a phased approach to procurement. This might be a strategic approach. I'm aware that we are almost at the end of the financial year, so you might want to spread some of the cost before April if there's any remaining budget. and some afterwards, or different teams at different times, depending on what you've got going on. This strategic approach obviously goes a little bit further than just the PCs with what our hardware team and projects team are able to do. If you are, for example, running laptops with docks that dock into screens, you want to make sure they're compatible with any new laptops that you choose to buy. Based on that, we can assess the screens. We can have a look at if there's a requirement for more of a project fit out in terms of the office, if there's any additional cabling that you'd require as part of this, any additional ports, for example. And then also anywhere that a Windows 10 system may touch wider systems such as AV or meeting rooms, ensure that any of the systems you're running there are compatible as well. This then moves on to an idea that we've been working with a couple of customers with and has had a desire for, and that is the idea of a rolling hardware replacement. We are able to do, thanks to our upgrades within ConnectWise, our NOC service, and ScalePad, we were able to pull more and more information about the state of hardware and software held by our customers, and to start giving you more of a proactive heads up around what is going on with that hardware. So it may be, for example, a report such as this highlights you've got however many devices that are due to be replaced soon or are reaching a certain point of end of life. We can proactively reach out, should you wish, to say this is the state of play. We can then go into market and spend some time quoting to find you the right solution well ahead of any degradation of those machines as they start to, potentially introduce IT-related business downtime. We can also assess devices mid-life cycle just to test that if you bought a certain type of laptop that they're not degrading faster than others. We'll do that via our NOC and hardware reports. So if you bought in a range of a particular type of laptop, you may suddenly discover they're going end of life faster, or they may be having a greater, longer span of life than you anticipate. So it's good to assess, as I say, with a rolling approach, and it can also prevent the need for a sudden need to replace all laptops in one go, which can be incredibly expensive. In this rolling approach, you're sort of spreading the costs, spreading the inconvenience, if there is any, of replacing at speed, and generally trying to be a little bit more convenient. As part of rolling replacement, we can also do comprehensive warranty sourcing and provide really clear visibility of renewal dates on any warranties and any questions that you have around that. The procurement team will be happy to answer. Another serious point to consider alongside the end of life of Windows 10 is, what do you do with these PCs once they're done? It's not enough necessarily just to recycle them, although recycling is an important part. Hardware and hard drives rather store data incredibly effectively, and actually it's very difficult to get the data off of them. So Akita offers a service for secure destruction of PCs and hardware, which includes the sanitization of hard drives. So this is effectively magnetically wiping them, as well as physical destruction methods. If a hacker really wanted to, even magnetically wiping a device isn't necessarily enough to prevent data from being retrieved from it. So to avoid any company data being found, a service like this is available to destroy the hard drive in a way that prevents any data from ever being retrieved. As part of this, we can also provide a certificate of secure destruction, so that you can provide this to insurers or any industry bodies you may be related to that require that type of information. There is a small charge attached to that. Otherwise, we can look to recycle machines and work with you on that. I'm now going to hand over to Adam, who will say how our account managers are helping Akita customers with this process.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, John, and thanks, Ange, as well. So we're just going to finish off really by talking about our account management approach to the Windows 11 upgrades, and effectively how you can start the ball rolling with that process as well. So all account managers are currently in the process of reaching out to our customers to essentially inform them of Windows 10 going end of life if they weren't already aware, and of course explaining what the urgency is around getting that done by the deadline of October. So that's kind of the education piece, which this webinar is also looking to support. Account managers are looking to help get customers prepared for the end of life of Windows 10 as early as we possibly can. So account managers can arrange a meeting with you to run through all the reports that we've kind of showcased today, so we can work with our hardware teams ahead of time to essentially review which of your devices will and won't be compliant with Windows 11. And then we can help you prepare what your preferred plan would be to get everything up to date by that cutoff. We can also discuss whether a phased or one-off approach might be better for you. We can assist if you are looking at a phased approach. We can assist with the planning of that. As John kindly talked about the rolling replacement. So if customers are looking to go onto a more proactive life cycle for their hardware, then we can also discuss that and perhaps bring in Kush, who's unfortunately not with us today, from our hardware team to consult around that as well. A final note as well, just on this slide, is that for those customers who are on our newest support agreement, we did mention that there would be some charges associated with setting up a new laptop. So for those devices that don't make the cut for the upgrade and a new purchase is required, we would typically charge for that labour. For those of you on the newest support agreement, as a reminder, you wouldn't then be charged for that. If you're not sure whether you are on the newest support agreement or you're interested in finding out more, then I won't talk about that on this at this time, but you're more than welcome to reach out to your account manager and they'll be happy to discuss that with you. Next slide, please, John. So reasons to act sooner rather than later. So we know that the cutoff date is in October of this year. So you can, of course, wait closer to the time, but there are many reasons to act sooner. So one of those being spreading the costs. So if you are looking at doing a phased approach to the rollout and you do want to spread those costs so that you don't have kind of one financial hit, the earlier you start that, of course, the more that you can spread that cost over the months coming to October. It also crucially gives us time to prepare your compatibility with third-party software. So as Ange described previously, certain software just won't allow your device to upgrade or won't be compatible with the upgrade. So identifying that sooner rather than later can really save a lot of time, leaving it till kind of October to do the upgrade and then finding out that some crucial software isn't going to work. It's going to kind of leave you high and dry. So yeah, especially if you're using some legacy applications and software, it's definitely worth speaking to us sooner rather than later. And of course, that's just going to give you and us more time to prepare for you. Avoiding device shortage as well. So of course, if you do get to nearer the time, October time, to look at the upgrade, if you don't make the cut for whatever reason, and those, say you've got 10 devices that aren't able to be upgraded, you may end up with 10 members of staff that aren't able to work and don't have a device. So yeah, we're just looking to kind of avoid that situation. Final note as well, for those customers that do have Cyber Essentials certification, we mentioned earlier on in the webinar that it wouldn't be compatible if you are running any end-of-life hardware. So if you do have Cyber Essentials, upgrading sooner rather than later is just going to prevent any kind of disruption around your recertification. Next slide, please, John.
I believe we've come to the end there. In many respects, shorter and sharper than maybe you anticipated at 23 minutes. As I say, we welcome questions in the chat. What you can also do is submit any questions to info@akita.co.uk. That's for anybody. I'm aware that most people on here are Akita customers, but we welcome those who aren't. If there's any questions you have around this, we'll be happy to address that. Account managers will, as I say, progressively be reaching out to all of you to discuss your strategies around this, how you wish to approach it, and how we can support you in that endeavour.
Please, just on that as well, please don't hesitate to reach out to your account managers as well. We are working through everybody. Obviously, for those of you that have joined this webinar today, it's obviously a focus area for you. So if you want to jump up to the top of the list, by all means, do reach out to your account manager and we can kick those conversations off.
Absolutely. Your account management meetings are your own agenda, so feel free to bring that up with them. That only leaves me to say thank you very much for joining us. The email address there is there if you wish to email in a particular query. You've got the website as well with a bit more information. Thank you for joining these webinars. We're trying to up the number of webinars that we're doing. If there are particular topics you'd like us to cover, we'd welcome suggestions as well. We've got our own ideas in terms of a schedule, but we'd welcome your suggestions as well. So thank you very much, everyone. And recording of this will be available shortly. Thank you.